I have been flying drones for years and have hundreds of hours of flight time at this point, including dozens of hours staring through a thermal imaging camera, whether it's for firefighting or search and rescue, or even just flying around and looking and seeing what I can find on thermal, because it's fun to be able to fly in the dark and see every speck of heat. I have seen so many different animals through the thermal imaging camera. I have seen deer, I have seen cows, I've seen pigs, I've seen ducks, I've seen you name it, I have seen it. I've seen dead people, I've seen alive people. What I'm trying to say is I have a pretty big database of thermal imaging data either on my computer or stored up here in the old noggin with which to pull from. That's why a couple nights ago, when I spotted this on my thermal imaging camera, I was thoroughly freaked out. To add on to this, about 15 minutes prior to taking this video, I had stepped outside to let my dogs in, and I heard a guttural, growling, roaring, snorting sound. I yelled at the dogs to get into the house. I ran back inside, informed my wife, who told me to stop messing with her. I told her that there was something outside, and I'm not sure what it was. So I did what any good American would do. I went and grabbed my rifle, went outside, and kind of swept the backyard. After I had changed my pants, of course. I didn't see anything in the backyard, and that's when I remembered the fact that I have a tiny flying helicopter with a thermal imaging camera on it that I could go out and find out whatever it was. So that's exactly what I did. I put my DJI Matrice 30T in the air and did a once-over around my house. It's starting to be wintertime, so most of the trees have lost their leaves. Having no leaves on the trees makes it really easy to see everything with the thermal imaging camera. I flew a couple circles around the house, didn't see anything except for, like a cat and an owl. Didn't see anything really of note. Until I ascended to about 200 feet, and I looked out towards one of our orchards, and I saw a pretty sizable group of heat signatures. And I decided, hey, maybe whatever it was that I heard next to the house ran out that far. So I flew out towards the heat signatures, and decided to flip over to Black Hot to get a good idea of what I was looking at, and I was greeted with this. Now, I don't know about you, but that does not look like any animal I've ever seen on thermal. And I've seen a lot of animals on thermal. This almost looked like something that was standing up and hanging its head. And here you can actually see as it shakes its head. Now, the logical side of me, looking at this now, goes, yeah, that's probably just an animal at an odd angle. But you gotta remember, I'm not a normal person. My brain started going to what sort of eldritch deity has wandered into my orchard that was growling and waiting for me at the edge of my lawn, waiting for me to just come a few more feet out so it could grab me with its tentacles and pull me into the interdimensional realm that which it came from. So I basically just hovered there for a bit and watched. I watched this re-dead looking figure for quite some time, and then I noticed that this figure over here does a strange sort of, I don't know what sort of movement that was, but the fact that it was all hunkered down together like one blob really had me freaking out. I was so busy focused on our Gidbo friend here and Amorphous Blob A that I didn't notice this creature here moving down on the bottom right. I didn't even notice this creature until after I got back and started reviewing the footage and was sending it to all of my friends and family, trying to figure out what the hell I was dealing with. And I hear you asking, hey Tim, you have a spotlight on your drone, why didn't you go out and look? I forgot to hook up the spotlight for the first flight. Well, why didn't you come back and land it and put more batteries in and hook up the spotlight? Because I'd forgotten to charge my batteries from a mission prior that day. Always charge your batteries, people. You never know when you're going to have to go and find some cryptids wandering around your orchard. Now, for anyone who might be thinking, this is AI. I don't blame you. This is 2025. The world's dominated by AI. But you can take one quick look back through my channel and see that I have never really once used AI outside of memes to like self-deprecate myself and to write really, really boring contracts that would take me about 3 hours to do if I didn't use ChatGPT. But outside of that, I do not use generational AI to create videos at all. I like to keep things real. The most important thing to me is my credibility. If you can, take me as credible, I don't know. So I took the video from the drone and crafted it into a very quick video that I then sent out to more friends and family. I sent it to some of the best hunters that I know, friends and family alike. I sent it to search and rescue members from my own group as well as colleagues in the industry. I called in everyone I knew who might be able to tell me what it was. And the overwhelming answer from everyone was bears. And after reviewing the footage, it really does look like a bear. This right here looks like a bear that's standing up on its hind legs. And the way this one walks right here and then sits down looks exactly like a bear as well. Now, when we came to this conclusion, I was pretty excited. Bear! And scared. Gosh darn it! I was excited because this meant I was probably not dealing with a deity from the horror tales of old, but was instead dealing with large carnivores very short distance from my house. Why are you here? You're supposed to be asleep! And I don't just mean I had one or two people come to this conclusion. I didn't tell anyone what the conclusion that we came to was until after they had told me what their thought was. And out of the 20 or so people I asked, the two main answers that I got were, I have no idea, or bears. So the next morning, I demonstrated exactly why women live longer than men. I grabbed some of my weapons, went out and cosplayed administrative results, and wandered around the fog-soaked orchards that I had seen the animals in. I found a few tracks, but none of them lined up. They were all cloven-hoofed, which pointed towards pigs or deer. But looking into thermal imaging, these really looked like neither to us. I probably wandered around out there for an hour and a half to the point where I was so cold and soaked I couldn't feel my fingers. And the most interesting thing I found out there was some really cool blue-gray mushrooms. If you can tell me what mushrooms they are, let me know. But regardless, I wandered around, didn't find anything, and figured, you know what? If I find it, I'll find it. That was until the night after. Wife and kids were gone, I was making dinner, and I decided, you know what? I'm going to go see if I could find these things again. But this time I was not going to make the same mistake. I attached the spotlight, had all the batteries charged, and flew straight out to the orchard. And would you look at that, there they were again. Now this part's going to sound almost like an advertisement, especially since they're partners of the channel, but I knew I had to get more eyes on what I was seeing. And that's why I very quickly pulled out my phone, set up a live stream using Nova, and texted the link to multiple friends of mine, including some guys on Nova, ironically enough, who I'd been asking to figure out what these were. So with a bunch of people watching through the same eyes as me, we went out there and investigated. And we got down really close to them, and sure enough, they looked to be exactly the same beasts from the other night. With my heart pounding in my chest, knowing that as soon as I turned on this spotlight, I was going to figure out, am I battling bears or am I battling the old gods? I flicked on the light. And I saw that they were deer. Blacktails, to be precise. They scattered as soon as I turned the light on them, but we were able to all see that they were, in fact, deer. And I was able to fly over to another herd and see that they were also deer. I've seen hundreds of deer through the infrared sight of my drone, and none of them have ever looked like this. But the moment I hit them with the spotlight, it was very, very clear what they were. On one hand, very excited that I don't have a bunch of carnivores or wendigos living in my baby almond orchards. But also a little bummed because now, a little more whimsy is gone from the world.
The bears are who we thought they were.
So yeah, sorry that the ending to the story is a little anticlimactic, but I figured it'd be really good to share to A, give you kind of an idea of what deer might look like through a thermal imaging scope, or, what bears might not look like through an thermal imaging scope, but also to give you an idea of how important features such as live streaming and spotlights on drones are. The infrared is not infallible, and I have several videos planned on talking about this, flying at night without using the infrared. We recently had 2 fatality drowning recoveries in my area. The first one was found with ground searchers and a flashlight after we'd spent several hours searching with the drone. The second one, we used lessons learned from the first drowning to use on the second, and I found him within 30 minutes using the spotlight. Really sad story, but we brought closure to the loved ones. That's what we do in search and rescue. Sometimes we search and recover. So stuff like this really hammers home how important spotlights on drones can be. Because seeing this through the infrared, we had no idea what we were looking at. All of us got it wrong. Outside of my friend Alana from up in the northwest portion of the state, who guessed the llamas, which was close, and my friend Cherie here who told me, Tim, those are deer, stop freaking out. Congratulations, ladies. Congratulations. But that's why spotlights are so important. Being able to put them out on a drone and see everything in real view can really help on a search like this sometimes. And in the very least, put your mind at ease knowing that there are no skinwalkers out there that are going to pull you through the fence and eat you. Having the Nova live streaming also was really nice because it made me feel, not so alone. Being able to really quickly set it up on my phone, text it to friends, and then have them on that stream in seconds was really, really nice. And it's not even set up to be on phones. You pull up Nova on your phone and it says, please use a laptop or PC. This isn't optimized for a phone. And I still made it work. Really, really cool technology from these guys. So yeah, that's just a quick, fun little story for this Sunday that I really want to share with you. It's Thanksgiving this week, so hopefully you all had a great time with your family, eating too much turkey, eating too much mashed potatoes, eating too much gravy. There's no such thing as too much gravy. I'm going off on a tangent. I'm Northwind Ariel. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, consider subscribing. Really helps the channel, really helps me debunk more spooky stuff I find out in my orchards. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time.